Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? Higher Learning is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel and Lindsay.
Charlie Kirk was shot and killed.
Yeah.
That's where the show starts. Okay? We'll get into other stuff later on, but obviously the show's going to start with conservative political activist and co-founder of Turning Point USA, killed at Utah Valley University. This was confirmed not by any news source, his death at least. Him being shot was confirmed by Donald Trump. Now, you guys are going to be getting this podcast on Friday. This happened yesterday, which was Wednesday. We're recording Thursday. The latest things that are happening right now, it looks as if they have a picture of the shooter of Charlie Kirk. It looks like also they have some evidence as to at least motive based upon stuff that was written on cartridges that was taken from a rifle that they found from the shooter. We should say that the shooter shot Charlie Kirk at about 200 yards in the
500.
neck. 500 yards, 500 yards in the neck. Then blended into the crowd to get away, dropped his gun in the woods, and remains at large at the time that we are recording this podcast, which is a day later. I will repeat. Shot him at 500 yards, blended into the crowd to escape, dropped the gun in the woods, remains at large. If you are thinking that this is a mad, unstable person that is whipped up by YouTube or TikTok content and then did this, it seems as if from the description of the shot and the aftermath of the shot, that's not the case. This seems like someone who knew what they were doing.
I mean, yeah. If whether it was 200 or 500 yards, shooting one single shot from that distance with that many people, there was, of course, not the same level of security that you would have for a president, but there was security around. And to move in that way, get away, no promising leads. There were 2 people that were apprehended. They were let go. They were released, not related to what happened in any kind of way. And we wake up this morning and he's still at large. That is what I believe to be somebody trained. I may go as far as saying a professional, to be able to execute this assassination in this manner.
All right. So as we talk about this, I just want to make sure that it's very clear what we're saying. So when I'm saying blended in, the FBI said that he blended in. They might have just been talking about the person in it. I say he because there are still images pulled from video of this individual. So it looks as if, this person is a man, it's a guy, dude.
Yes.
So when they say blended in, they blended into the rest of the crowd, but was able to get away. Now, I want to make sure that I am making a clear distinction here as I'm describing this. Because this is what I'm saying. When we talk about rampage shooters, mass shooters, as we know them, the profile of the mass shooter is oftentimes, mostly, someone who has easy access to a high-capacity weapon, an AR-15. Not always, but that platform is very commonly used, right? You did have the Virginia Tech shooter that used 2 handguns. My point here is that this is normally a rampage shooter that operates inside of a confined, enclosed area that they know. You see these things happen in schools where people went. You see these things happen in, they might not be going there now, they went there before, in grocery stores or things where they've been before. Even the Mother Emanuel shooting, he's in there for a long time, Dylan Roof is praying with people. And with his weapon, he gets to see like the lay of the land and then pick people off very close range, enclosed situation. That is not what happened here. That's not what happened. That's not what happened here. This shooter, from distance, hit somebody, then got away. That's also another part of this. The Trump shooter, when he shot President Trump, clipped President Trump's ear, this guy was somebody that was essentially on a suicide mission. He was apprehended or killed or whatever right away. They got to him right away. This shooter shot Kirk from reportedly 500 yards, then disappeared into the ether. We're starting to get information on who this person is right now. Then you see what it says is political messaging. Political messaging on some of the cartridges here. When this happened, everyone viewed it as a political assassination, which how could you not, right? It's Charlie Kirk. He's at a political event, and people assumed that this was a political assassination that came from a very specific cohort, right? When you look at all the information of this together, there is just no way to know who did this.
There's no way to know.
And that is not me saying that the easiest and most plausible explanation for this is that it was a political assassination by someone who didn't like what Charlie Kirk has to say. That's seems to be the most simple and easy way to explain this. But at the same time, who that person is, what that speech is, or how this is supposed to go, if you just look at all of this and how this, as this was getting updated yesterday, people kept waiting and kept waiting and kept waiting and kept waiting for there to be somebody that was apprehended for this. And now it seems like maybe they're on the trail of someone because there is a picture. They seem to have a couple of leads. But as we sit right now, there still isn't anyone. And it looks like it is a little bit, it's not quite as cut and dry as what it seemed when it first happened.
Yeah. When Greg Gutfeld was on Fox News, he was even saying, because you're right, at the end of the day, we don't know. And I think it's really important to keep that into perspective because you have so many people speculating and assuming so much based on who Charlie Kirk is, what he stood for, represented, what party he was affiliated with, what his views aligned with. They're assuming they already know what type of person would do that shooting. And I was actually a little bit surprised. I'm not trying to give Greg Gutfeld too much, but he said at the end of the day, you don't know. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit of what he had to say, but he said, you don't know who did this. And he questioned that the idea that the shooting, the people were saying it benefited the left because Charlie Kirk is no longer here on this earth. He said it actually doesn't necessarily benefit the left, which is speculating to the nature of the killing. And then he referenced that it feels very professional. I think that it's dangerous because it is dangerous because we're seeing the response from people with platforms, politicians, and they're already placing blame, but it is very dangerous to do so in the sense that we don't know. You don't, even with what's the little information that's come out with what was engraved on the bullets, you still don't know political affiliations. You don't know motives. You don't know what the person's, the reasoning, which I guess goes to motive, the intention of what and why they executed this on who's, if it was personal, if it was on somebody's behalf, you just don't know. And so I'm glad that we're starting this conversation off in this way because it is important to have a platform where we don't place blame without any type of evidence or knowledge. And this, when it comes to the identification of the shooter, all we can do is report the information that we have at this point.
Yeah, man, I'm not acquiescing anything. Nothing. Until there is a shooter in custody and this person has been interrogated. And then even after then, this is a situation where you have to look at it from every single angle because it's a high stakes incident in the current American political climate. It just is.
Yeah.
And before everyone jumps to conclusions and acts as if they know why this happened, who did this, just pump your brakes and kind of let things play out. The political messages that were written on the cartridges, anti-fascist, transgender messages, they said, that is so on the nose and direct, it almost screams psyop to me. Like, that is so on the nose and direct that it seems like it's done to endanger and implicate one or two or a group of people. There's just not enough that we know specifically about the crime itself right now to say who did it and why. There's not enough. Now, if there is a full-throated investigation into this and there are no shenanigans at the DOJ, then you should be able to make some inroads into who did this and get some explanation as to why.
Yeah.
But that is where it sits from a criminal standpoint. But to cover that first, from a criminal standpoint, there has been a murder. The suspect is at large, and there is different reporting about how close authorities are to catching this suspect and what the motivation of the suspect is. That is the deal. Now the conversation comes to the cultural reaction to the assassination or killing of Charlie Kirk. And that, I think, is the source of the most tension right now in America, wouldn't you say?
I would absolutely say that. I mean, on a personal level, just group chats, social media followings, the response I'm seeing from people I know, people I don't know, it's divisive. I mean, that's the best word I can use to describe it. When I found out, which was a text message from you, I was shocked. That was my first thought, right? I was shocked. And then I immediately got scared, if I'm honest. You know, and I had conflicting thoughts as well, if you'll give me a second to just like kind of dive into it a little bit. The way, I say shocked, because the way in which Charlie Kirk was killed was loud, it was public, and it was gruesome. And I immediately thought, man, this is a life. Someone lost a son, someone lost a father, someone lost a husband, and that's devastating. Because despite what I thought about him or my personal things, there were a number of people that he meant something to on a completely different personal level, right? But I was watching as I was all day, right? On social media. It never stopped. On television, on the phone. I came across some words that really did kind of resonate with me and contributed to some of the thoughts that I have and some that were conflicting. And that came from Blakely Thornton. And I'm kind of paraphrasing this, but he said, I'm not going to celebrate what happened, but I'm also not going to mourn it. And that really struck with me because I thought if I am mourning anything in this moment, it's the implications of this assassination and what this means for our society now. Like, where do we go from this? And that goes back to kind of the division. When I talk about conflicting thoughts, I think of it's hard for me to have empathy for someone who didn't believe in the meaning of that word. I mean, when I think of, because I don't think you can talk about Charlie Kirk and separate the two. When I think about him, I think about it's a man who actively worked to discredit me and my rights as a woman, my rights as a Black person, my rights as a Black woman. I mean, this is the same man who said Black women do not have the brain power to be taken seriously and that they had to steal a white person's job to be taken seriously. You know, Charlie Kirk is a person who spread harmful and hateful misinformation about marginalized groups in order to ignite his beliefs and his followers. He was a divisive person. He didn't value the rights of others' place in this society, in our country, on the same level as his. He treasured certain constitutional rights over the value of innocent lives, even if that meant that he thought those lives were indisposable. He did it in the name of certain amendments. But then I also thought, this is really bad for our country and it's really bad for humanity. I think it showcases the dangers of political violence, especially at the hands of a widely debated issue, which is gun control. I believe political violence is dangerous, and because it kills the freedom of expressing words and fostering arguments and debates. I believe political violence takes the easy way out, and that's a violence that fuels the fire to create the discourse of hate and confusion, and then basically perpetuates these emotions to grow into an army that empowers or an army that is empowered by these feelings for people to act on them. And it's already happening. We're seeing it. We're seeing it with the Jesse Waters. We're seeing it with the Nancy Maces. We're seeing it with Trump in their response to what happened. And we're seeing it with so many other conservative voices that are calling for war and are calling for retribution without condemning what political violence is as a whole and without noting the issue of gun violence, which is also an issue with this. They're not condemning political violence on both sides of this. They're allowing it to exist when they don't condemn it on both sides. And by not condemning it on both sides, they're allowing it to be okay, except for when it impacts their side of the table. When I think about all this, and I don't know if I'm merging my thoughts, my original thoughts and my conflicting thoughts with also how I feel about political violence and gun violence. And I probably should just stop before I keep running on. And I will, because I want to separate each thing. But those were my initial thoughts when it came to this. And those thoughts are conflicting. And I feel that a lot of people are struggling with that, because in order to talk about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, you also have to talk about who he is as a person and what his beliefs and values are and how that affected me. But I also have to condemn political violence because I'm against that. And I condemn it on both sides. But I also have to talk about gun violence and Charlie's connection to gun violence in our society as well.
Well said. First of all, I want to talk to the audience real quick. I want to let the audience know something real quick. I love you. I love you guys. You guys, I know that we have an odd and sometimes weird parasocial relationship, me and the audience. I rile you guys up, I poke at you guys. But more than anything, I'm an advocate for you. I believe in you. I'm a humanist, and I aspire to be a humanist. Let me say it like this. I advocate for your freedom and your protection. That's what keeps me talking, is I've looked at you, whoever you may be, and I've done my best to put myself in your position. Whoever you may be. If you are a gay man, I am not that. I've done my best to put myself in your position. If you're a trans woman, I am not that. I've done my best to put myself in your position. If you are a woman, I've done my best to put myself in your position. I can do better, and I am trying to do better. But I've done my best to put myself in your position. Otherwise, I wouldn't give a fuck. But my ability to say, that's happening to you, how much you feel, is the thing that makes me love you. That's why I love you. That's why I love you guys. I love you guys because I see myself in you. I love you guys because I see all of us together. I can't control that. It's reflexive. So the first thing that happened was I saw a video, and the video was of a human person sitting down and blood spurted from their neck and they went limp. And I reflexively reacted to seeing that video. When I saw that video, I went, nah, that's me. I'm telling you guys right now, the people that are listening to this, I love y'all. I understand that everyone is trying to understand how to contextualize and talk about this. The first thing I saw was that, and I went, nah, hell nah, no. That's what happened. That empathy was reflexive. Charlie Kirk, you talked about it, very famously said that empathy is overrated, that it doesn't really exist, that it's not a thing. He was a Christian that was somehow against empathy, however that works. That's for him. His views on empathy, the way he looks at human beings, how he approaches empathy, He's not going to steal mine. Nobody will. Because if you steal my empathy, I become a masher. I become a dominator. I become an oppressor. And that's my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is living outside of community. My biggest fear is not being someone that you can depend on or someone that you can call or someone that you can believe in. That's my biggest fear, is not seeing myself in you anymore. That's what bothers me. Not any of the other stuff. That's what bothers me. We're not about to do on this pod, or at least I'm not about to do. You do whatever you want. I know, but we're not about to have a very special episode of Higher Learning where we whitewash somebody's legacy.
No.
We're not doing
that.
Right?
Like, it's impossible. You're not having an honest conversation.
We're not doing that. If I didn't do that for Hulk Hogan, then why would I do it for someone else?
No.
But for Charlie Kirk. But what I will say is this. I am not going to even attempt to go to a place where I can see something like that, watch something like that, and then either rhetorically or energetically condone it. I'm not doing that at all. And I'm also going to tell you guys something else. I'm not going to make moral judgments about you and how you react to anything. Because I'm telling you guys right now that I don't care about whether or not society thinks that you are moral or immoral. I don't think that American society is in the position to judge my morality as a black man. I think they lost that a long time ago. As a matter of fact, I think part of that is what I was talking about a couple of shows ago. I said right here on the podcast, I said, we've kind of been taught to litigate our morality through the lens of our oppressors, which always makes us want to live in community with them rather than shake off the shackles of what it is that they're doing. I stand by that. I do. I stand by that. I stand by the fact that that happened. But what else I'm going to say, what I'm going to add to that is the way that I look at the world and the way that I approach things, I don't want to change. I don't want to change and become something else. I want to grow and I want to evolve, but I don't want to look up one day and be the person holding the gun. I don't. I'm afraid of that. I'm scared of it. I'm scared of one day being the person that's oppressing you. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of that. I believe in the destruction of hierarchy. I believe in the use of violence in self-defense when you are threatened. I believe in vehemently defending your family, your property, who you are, right? From people who want to take it illegally, unlawfully, and immorally. I believe in all of that. But I also believe in the ability of human beings to feel for each other. And if you do that, it doesn't make you wrong. By the way, if you don't do it, you're not going to hear anything from me because I understand it. Let me tell you the trick bag of being black in this country. There's a whole group of people whose power and influence is based on blaming you for every problem that America has.
Correct.
Their power and influence is based on the fact that America is flawed and you're the reason why. And not only are those people not punished for that, they are exalted for it. They make hundreds of millions of dollars. They have all those from just wishing ill on you, from wishing terrible things happen to you, for saying terrible things about you. Those people get all kinds of bread, all kinds of opportunities, all types of privileges. And then you go through life with nothing ever really happening to them and then something does. When something does happen, you are then on an island where now your morality is being litigated by whether or not you can have compassion for someone who never had it for you.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking place to be. Let me tell you what I believe the antidote to that is. I'm serious. What I believe the antidote to that is not in any way, thinking about what you owe society, but thinking about what you owe yourself. On empathy, once again. It's not that I've never looked at a situation and had empathy for in a situation that was grotesque. There's a very specific thing that I think about when I think about this. There was a guy in Baton Rouge, I don't know if people have seen the video, and his son was kidnapped. Son was kidnapped. Son was kidnapped and sexually abused for a couple of days by like his karate instructor. But there's a very famous video that takes place in Ryan Airport in Baton Rouge where this guy waited by a phone booth for the abductor of his son to walk by, and he shot him in the head, killed him dead. The abductor of his son. When I first saw that video, I felt incredible empathy for the father. I thought, this happened basically on TV. It's a news report. I thought, man, what must this man have been going through? Think about the anguish in this man's heart. Think about how he felt knowing what was happening to his son. Think about everything going on in his mind for him to take that chance. He did not know what was going to happen after that. He didn't know if he was going to go to jail, be given a death penalty, be taken away from his family. He couldn't think straight at all. The pain was so fucking deep that he thought, the only way I can extinguish the pain is to extinguish the person that hurt my family. I didn't feel any empathy in that situation for the guy that got shot. I felt the empathy for the guy who actually was the trigger man. In this situation, it was different. What I initially felt when I saw the video was fuck. And that's just me. I looked at the video and I went, shit. I reflexively put myself in this position. Reflexively. I just went, God damn, think about that. I thought about if I go out and I talk, or if I go out and I give a talk, or if I go out and I go somewhere and say something, somebody blows my shit off. My mom, I thought about that reflexively. That's a part of my makeup. That's who I am. And I'm not going to apologize for that. And I'm not asking y'all to apologize for how y'all went with it. People who didn't feel that way. I'm not apologizing for that because I can't give that up lest I become my father. And I'm not asking you guys to apologize. I'm telling you right now, I love you. I understand why you feel the way you feel either way. And this society doesn't get to make decisions morally about how you feel about this. It doesn't make you a good person to go at it one way. It doesn't make you a bad person to go after another way. But what I will say is this, is empathy is not something that you should ever turn on or off. Empathy is the building block of human cooperation. It is literally the only thing that we should have to have for one another. It's the only thing. If we don't, we are the animal kingdom. And if we are the animal kingdom, biceps, triceps, and bullets win. That's not the world I want.
It's not the world that I want to live in either, which is why I got scared when all of this happened. But the reality is we've been living in this world. And I got to tell you, when I really think about yesterday and the way people were responding, whether it was on a personal, professional, political level, for me, it chipped away at me. I feel like I really lost a part of, like, a piece of humanity was lost in the responses that I saw yesterday. And I'm not saying, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not telling people to judge in the same way that you are, but like a piece of me, I don't know, was just lost in how people were responding yesterday because
what do you mean? From what standpoint?
something that you just said, really resonant. Well, okay, to answer the first question, when I say a piece of me is lost, is people are acting like what happened is new. I know it was shocking and it was gruesome. And I said all of that before and I still stand by that. It was public. It was loud, all of it. But the way people have been killing for political violence and gun violence is not new. That's why I said we've been living in this world. And the response that people were having chipped away at me a bit. And something you said when you talked about empathy and Charlie Kirk, and you talked about his quote, which has been floating around about how he didn't believe in the word empathy and how it was a new age word, yet he stands in Christianity. And those two things conflict. Because how can you believe in Jesus Christ and not believe in empathy? That's really profound that you pointed out the Christianity and the empathy part. And you and I were talking before we got on this microphone, we were talking yesterday. I do believe Charlie Kirk believed in empathy. It's just that his empathy was subjective. I believe he believed in empathy when it aligned with certain people and it aligned with his beliefs and his motives and his values. He had selective empathy. He just didn't say that. Charlie Kirk, when it referred to people who look like you and me or marginalized groups or people who were against the things that he was fighting for, he called that victimhood, right? Victimhood culture. But he had empathy for things that affected his family, his children, white men, Christians who believed in his type of Christianity. He absolutely had empathy for that. But when I saw so there's that part. But then when
just real quick. So he's also making you that way, or not you, but anybody else who then, his version of selective empathy is contagious.
Yes. It's infectious.
It makes everyone run to a silo. So what I'm saying is a lot of people are like that. A lot of people choose to live in the world like that. I can't do it because to me, I get it. He didn't give a fuck about what happened to anyone, everywhere except for this small group of people.
Yes.
This is not the way that I look at the world. And
Exactly.
I'm not going to start looking at the world that way because he did.
Right. I completely agree with you. He had a lack of compassion for anybody except for a very small sector. And I think that that's the part where I say, I lost a little faith in humanity yesterday, the part that chipped away from me. Yesterday I posted, there was another shooting yesterday. And I posted that. I didn't post a thing about Charlie Kirk because to me, that is a conversation. It can't live in a post. It's a conversation that I knew we were going to have on this podcast. And I'm grateful for the platform and the opportunity to be able to do that and flesh that out. I cannot put Charlie Kirk in a post. Wouldn't do that. But I posted about the Evergreen shooting and the shooter died and there are 2 students that are in critical condition. I cannot tell you the number of people who responded to that post and said, really? But you can't talk about Charlie Kirk? Are you serious? But what about Charlie Kirk? And I will write people back and I was like, so it's fuck them kids, right? So it's just fuck the kids.
They said that a long time ago. Yeah.
But I'm like, I want you to realize what you're saying. And some people would say, well, I didn't say that. I said, but you're implying it. You are mad that I didn't write about Charlie Kirk, but you don't want to acknowledge that I'm trying to acknowledge another shooting that you have been so desensitized to that you don't care about that because I'm living in a society that as of yesterday was basically deifying Charlie Kirk, silence at baseball games, standing up for him at Congress, getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Is that what he gave? Is that what he gave him?
Posthumously, yeah.
Okay. The list goes on and on and on. And watering down what Charlie Kirk also represents, right? You can acknowledge the tragedy and an assassination and the things that we are doing in that way on this podcast. But to completely erase what Charlie Kirk also was to me and act like this is something that is new, chipped away at me. To find fault in me acknowledging that there was a school shooting because I didn't acknowledge Charlie Kirk is something that made me lose a little faith in humanity. To act like political violence is new and gun violence is new, to act like there haven't been politicians on both sides that have been attacked, that have been harassed, that have been murdered. And I'm supposed to pause all of that because Charlie Kirk is somebody who you revered. You want to now look at Charlie Kirk as a martyr, deify him, and compare him to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I don't look at that in the same way. You want to find fault in me. When I saw people do that, that chipped away at me. That made me lose faith in humanity. I'm not saying I have no faith in humanity. It's just that to ignore, I don't know if you're just dumb or willfully or plausible deniability or just willfully wanting to ignore Charlie Kirk. I don't know what your motive is, but to place Charlie Kirk on this pedestal and not know or acknowledge all the other things that he was too, it just eats away at me. For whatever your reason is, it just does.
Two things. I'll come to gun control in a second. So, on the full-throated remembrance of someone or contextualizing of someone, talking about who they were and stuff like that. If you care about Black people, if you actually care, having empathy, okay, how do I put this? Having empathy for Black people right now, since we're talking about empathy, this is all oriented around empathy. Having empathy for Black people right now is understanding why they're reacting the way that they're reacting. That would be empathy. See, because here's the deal. It's one thing for people to say you lack empathy if you don't have a specific take on or a specific reaction to what happened to Charlie Kirk. Having empathy is also understanding why Black people feel the way that they feel right now, why gay people feel the way that they feel right now, while anyone who is not one of the straight white people that Charlie Kirk advocated for about how they feel right now. Having empathy for them is understanding that some people that are going, what do you want me to say? Like, what do you want me to say? Like, seriously, like, what do you want me to say? Like, I watch a video where someone says Black women aren't smart enough to fly planes or to be in Congress, and then something bad happens to that person, and you want me to be like, that's too much, and that, I get it, but having empathy for people is understanding that people are made up of emotions, and people are made up of experiences, of fears, and in ways that they connect to society. And sometimes those things don't really meet the standard that you think that they should meet. That, yeah, you might want somebody to be like, put all that to the side. That's words and rhetoric, but look what happened. But then people are going to tell you it's not just words and rhetoric. Because you say this, I have to drink shitty water. Because you say this, I get killed by the police. Because you say this, I don't get to go to school or to college. Because you say the things that you say and you do the things that you do, it has a material and direct effect on my life. Empathy, true empathy, would be somebody that would say, hey, you know what? What can I do to ratchet all of this down so we could all talk about how we got here? Like, literally, let's talk about how we got here. The president didn't do that. The president came out and said, look, radical leftist, he used it as a stat to put into his arsenal. He used it as a stat. That's what happened. So for somebody looking at this in a holistic way, what you would want more than anything else, is for people to be safe. For people to be safe and exist in safety and understanding that safety was their birthright. That walking down the street unmolested by the state, by the people in their community, by the people in their household is their birthright. That housing is a birthright. That all of these things are things that people should have, and they fucking notice when they don't have them. And not only do they notice when they don't have them, they notice who's saying that they shouldn't. They notice it. So true, somebody who was really interested in having a conversation that tried to ratchet all of this down would have to consider all of the variables. But that's not what we do anymore. What we do is we look for somebody to blame.
We look for somebody to blame.
We look for somebody to blame. And in finding someone to blame, you know who we never blame? The person that's in the mirror. Never.
We're seeing people hop on their platforms and a microphone immediately ready to condemn, talked about it, calling for war and retribution. There should have been reasonable gun control policies prior to this happening as a response to mass shootings, school shootings, and senseless killings that have been happening in this country prior to what happened on Wednesday. This is something that should have been a bipartisan issue, but it wasn't before, and it still isn't now because what's happening? Instead, they're using this tragedy as a weapon to politicize his death and to condemn the left. As you said, they're pointing fingers, looking for someone to blame rather than taking a step back and looking at the big picture issue. We have a divided, hateful country where people use all kinds of violence to stop, suppress, or hurt people that don't agree with them, or just because they can, because the laws in this country allow them to be able to have access to do it. We should be focusing on that big picture, exactly what it was that you were talking about. That's why I keep going back to the point of this didn't just start today. It didn't just start today. When you talk about empathy, my empathy is exactly what I said at the beginning of this. I can have empathy enough to understand that somebody was affected by the death of Charlie Kirk in a personal way. I have empathy in the sense that he should not have been killed like this. I don't agree with this.
The shooting was disgusting.
I don't agree with political violence. That is where my empathy goes. But what I will not do is water down who Charlie Kirk was and what he represented and how his rhetoric and his teachings and his beliefs and his movements were harmful and hurtful to so many people. I'm not going to not talk about that.
And I think that's what I'm saying. And the reason why you have to talk about that is because if not, then people get to paint the reaction to his death as a bunch of individuals with no central moral compass. It dehumanizes the issue. If we're going to consider feelings, we have to consider all the feelings. We have to consider the feelings of the people that don't have 46 out of 47 presidents, right? We have to consider the feelings of the people who don't own all the land in the country. How do they operate in their average day-to-day lives, living in a place where they're underserved and it's being done to them on purpose? And when something like this happens, we're looking at a whole group of people react, and they're reacting because they're human, because they feel scared, because they feel assailed, because they feel oppressed. And if you're not going to deal with that, but then you're going to morally judge them or make judgments about them, then you're denying them their humanity. Once again, we're all feeling machines. We're all people that it's in us. Like, this is a part of who we are. This is the God in us. The people that watch that and went, whoa, that's disgusting. I hate what I just saw. That's divine. That's a part of, I'm not saying that I'm saying that existing in you, you don't have to tamp that down in any way. You shouldn't in any way to be accepted by any group. You should be able to say, you know what, man? That's so fucked up that we really need to have a conversation about how we got there. And that conversation is going to be, part of that conversation is going to be about this person and what they stood for. It would have to be. It has got to be. It has to be, right? There's no way around it. We would have to talk about that. And we don't owe it to nobody to not have that conversation. We don't. Matthew Dowd was fired. Matthew Dowd was on MSNBC. He was fired. He was fired because he made comments about Charlie Kirk's death on air in on air on MSNBC. He said, "We apologize for his statements, as has he. There's no place in violence in America, political or otherwise. I apologize for my tone and my words. Let me be clear. I in no way intended to blame Kirk for his horrendous attack. Let's all come together and condemn violence of any kind." By the way, I'm not blaming Kirk for his attack.
No.
In any way, shape, or form. I'm not blaming anyone for the attack other than the person that pulled the trigger. I'm not blaming anyone for the attack. What I am saying is, if you want a space where we can really talk about this, understand the reaction to this, understand why people feel, why it's gutting to some people to talk about this without contextualizing it, while it's freeing for people to say, hey, just to let you know, this fucking guy hated me. Like the guy that y'all put up on the thing, that guy fucking hated me. And now I'm in traction because you're telling me that I'm not a good person unless I go to bat for something that I can't connect with, because look at my fucking life. All of that's real. And by the way, y'all, it's okay for y'all not to like some of the things that I've said. I love y'all anyway. Like, it's okay for you guys to not be on my side with this. It's okay for you. Some of you could look at that video and look at it and not give a fuck about it. Like, some of you, I talked to people a friend of mine hit me up, was like, because I said, I can't celebrate it. I'm pussy. I'm pussy. I'm pussy. I'm pussy. I can't celebrate it. I can't celebrate it. I can't. And a friend of mine said, well, what do you draw the line? How do you judge when do you celebrate the death of a terrible person, is what he said. We got on the phone. We had a great conversation. And what I realized is that there is a way that I'm at, that I am. And being that way, to me, is the way that I believe moves towards keeping people safe and empowered. Safe and empowered. Now, last thing I'll say is this. Last thing I'll say on this. There is nothing more vulnerable than a hawk with dove's feathers. So, I want to talk directly to some of the people that I'm seeing. If you are saying that you want the world to be a certain way, you have got to be prepared for that. And I know some of you, and you're not. If you are saying that you are ready for a certain type of existence, then you have to have been doing something to prepare yourself for that existence. Don't talk anything out here on these platforms that you are not ready to live. If you are, in fact, hyping people up and whipping people up and injecting into them a specific type of worldview, and you yourself are not ready for the ramifications of that worldview, or you're not ready for what's going to happen to those people as they go out and act on some of the things that they are thinking and feeling and that you are undergirding, then you're doing a disservice to them. And we all are. We all are. If you're saying you're ready for something, and if you're espousing that you are ready for something, or that you are happy about something, or that something makes you feel good, and you don't have the requisite wherewithal to deal with the consequences, the societal consequences of what it is that you create, then you are a hawk with the feathers of a dove. And the other hawks who have been preparing, who have tried to make society this way, who have endeavored into this, they are going to rip you apart. Now listen, I'm not one of these turn the other cheek motherfuckers. I'm not. Nah. slap me, kick you in the knee. Kick. Okay. Right to the knee. Bam. Like, take your fucking knee out, right? But what I am saying is, what I do believe is that it is my job to protect, advocate for, and put my arms around the most vulnerable people in society. It's not my job to make them more vulnerable. It's just not. So when I see the temperature or the fire rising, I always think two things. One, who's getting burned? Two, how can I turn the fire down?
If only more people adopted those two things as well.
Yeah, but they're not watching enough porn. That helps you.
Well, you don't do that anymore, right?
I know, but it's still there.
Oh, is that your foundation? Was that your foundation?
Yeah, it's
okay.
still, because you know what I mean? It's still there. I had to try to get out of it with something stupid, y'all. I really apologize. I told you guys I wasn't going to do it anymore, but I did it anyway. Okay. We have to move on to other things. There'll be more news about this that'll be coming out. I think by the time this comes out, maybe we know more about the shooter. Maybe Rachel and I might have to jump on live tomorrow. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we'll know more about the shooter. Maybe we'll know more about some of the fallout from this. But
can I just encourage people? We say this sometimes where it's like, take a breath, because I feel like the response to what has happened has created a lot of emotions in me. Like I said earlier, I feel a little bit chipped away at. I feel like I lost a little bit of humanity is lost. I feel a little bit of anger that people are telling me how I should respond and not considering how certain things impact me. It's like, you better, which in essence highlights how much they value me or other people who are marginalized groups like me. It makes me feel like they don't value my place in society, which is something we probably already saw as well. I mean, we already knew as well, but a day like yesterday and the response from people highlights that. I am going to take a little bit of a break because I was glued to every piece of media yesterday for my own mental health. And I just encourage everybody to do the same. If they're feeling that way.
Fine.
That's
I feel
fine.
fine.
That's
I'm worried
fine.
about. I feel fine. I'm worried about y'all.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Like when I was doing I've never talked about this conversation before. When I was doing Hip Hop Homicides, I was in a city. I'm not gonna talk about the city that I was in. I'm not gonna talk about who I was talking to. I was in the city, and I was talking to this kid, and it was a conversation I won't forget. And he goes, I'm in a neighborhood where these kids are racking up kills on each other. This is killing. It's crazy. It's crazy how much they're able to kill. I'm talking to this kid, and this kid is like, he's like a regular. I mean, the guys I knew that were doing that, I'll be honest with you, and the Player Proof crew, we kind of considered ourselves to be regular, and then the killers were the killers, but you kind of knew them. I'm talking to this kid, he's talking about all the stuff that he's into and stuff like that, and after a while, I'm like, oh, it's like he's a kid. He's not what I considered when I was growing up to be one of them ones. There were guys that I knew like that, and you knew him and whatever. So I'm talking to him, and we just having conversations about all kinds of other stuff, but I know some of the things that he's done or some of the things that he's reputed to have done. So after a while of having the conversation, I go, yo, man, why don't y'all stop? I said, why don't you stop? I was like, look, you can stop. You're doing this stuff. You kind of got a little rap career going and all that. You can stop. You can stop. You don't have to continue this. Y'all can stop. Never forget it. He goes, I'll stop. I'm willing to stop. I'm willing not to target them or do anything like that. I'm willing to stop. He goes, all they have to do is bring my brother back. I was like, fuck. He's like, I'll stop. I'll stop it all. I'll stop right now. I'll stop. We'll make records together. We'll do all of that stuff. All they got to do is put my brother right back here. After he's here again, I'll stop. I'm done. It's over. It's cool. We good. That's all I need back is the person that taught me how to piss in the toilet and did all that. That's all I need back. And that guy's dead. He died. They got him before the show premiered. and I was like, at some point we have to say no. And I just wonder what that point is. We'll take a break. Donnie, you can get us into politics.
Kamala Harris. In July, she announced that she's got an upcoming book coming out. It's called 107 Days, in which she outlines her short-lived presidential campaign. It's expected to go on sale at the end of this month. And with the release date approaching, an excerpt is now making the rounds, in which she suggests that Biden's decision to run for re-election amounted to recklessness. This is what the former vice president said. Of all the people in the White House, I was in the worst position to make the case that he should drop out. I knew it would come off as incredibly self-serving if I advised him not to run. He would see it as naked ambition, perhaps as poisonous disloyalty even. Even if my only message was, don't let the other guy win. Thoughts on this?
How am I supposed to feel about this?
Don't you feel sorry for her?
No.
That's what I did. When the fact that she's writing this book, the fact that this excerpt came out, and I don't know if that's her intention, but I thought, man, I really feel sorry for Kamala Harris. This is how she's going out. Because
oh shit.
It is. This is a lose-lose situation for her. It seems like when Biden just said that.
Yeah, I went to dinner. You turned it on the dinner pact.
No. It's
not gonna be no more dinners.
No, there aren't. I just think that she was in. I think from the beginning,
Cheesecake Factory with her no more.
I think Cheesecake Factory. I think from the beginning she was in a lose-lose situation because the moment that Biden picked her, it seems like from these excerpts that have come out, and I'm sure we'll read about it in the rest of the book, he never planned on her being anything but his vice president, and that's where it would start and that's where it would end. Biden said he was going to be a one-term president. Clearly, he never had those desires. It seems like he was always planning on running. And if that is the case, then it appears she was doomed from the moment he gave her the phone call and asked her to be his vice president. He never planned to support her. He never planned to big up her for president. Her role was to be the first as a Black woman, as an Indian woman in that position. And that's where she was going to live. I really believe that. From these excerpts that are coming out, Biden always saw that he was going to be two-term. He was maybe afraid of announcing that from the beginning because of his age, but it always seemed like he was planning to do it. And obviously that's what happened because he decided to run again. So she was in a lose-lose situation. And now so much has happened that she can come out and condemn Biden. She can come out and tell her truth of what really went down and how her hands were tied and how they and how they continued to put her in positions and put her on top of policies where she could never succeed. And when she did succeed, because this is in some of the excerpts, when she did succeed, they didn't promote it. When she tried to ask them, she was in a position to never look good. She was in a position to stand by his side and represent a woman of color. He never, according to her words from these excerpts, never wanted her to shine. I feel sorry for her. And now that so much has happened with her time in the election, her backing him up, even when she thought he shouldn't be running, her standing by, saying she wouldn't change anything different from how he ran his administration, it's just putting her in a situation where she can't run again. I feel bad for her.
Feel bad for her.
I feel sorry for her. I think I don't see her running for any more office, so it feels like the end of her political career. And it ends with this book. That's how I feel.
So this book is the end of Kamala Harris's political... She's announcing the end of it, is what you're saying.
Oh, she's not announcing it. I think that she plans to run. I just feel like this is the end for her.
You think she's running for El Presidente?
I do. She said her political career isn't over. She's not going to go back and run for governor. I don't know where she falls in line. She was the vice president. She's not going to be a part of the administration in anything but being the president again.
Interesting.
And I think anything else is a step back from sort of, I said that before on this podcast.
Okay, so look, here's the deal. So this is this is a tough one for me. Because when I read excerpts like this from the book, there's excerpts on this, and then there were excerpts on, how she felt about the whole, obviously the genocide in Gaza, what she was trying to tell them to do and all that stuff. They were listening to her. It enrages me. I get very mad.
For her?
No.
Oh.
At her. At.
See? Doomed.
But not her. It's not being mad at her as much as it is being mad at them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, imagine that you allegedly like football. Imagine that if you like that. Bing, 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 bing.
Allegedly.
Imagine that, like, the Dallas Cowboys are playing the game. And they're playing the game. And the fate of the world is at stake if the Cowboys win.
Like, if they win, we're good.
If they win, we're good. So, I mean, we're probably fucked, right?
We know it for sure.
If they win, we're good. If they lose, everything's fucked up.
Okay.
Dak Prescott has a sprained ankle, a high ankle sprain. He has a high ankle sprain. He's not going to be able to move.
Yeah. Can't play.
Right? The left tackle knows this, and he can't tell anybody. He can't say anything.
So only Dak and the left tackle know he has a high ankle sprain in the game?
No. The whole team knows.
Oh, okay.
But everyone knows. But he can't say anything. And then all you Cowboys fans, they talk to you guys and they say, Dak is our guy. We have to go out there and let him play for the fate of the world on the high ankle sprain. Right? Everyone knows, but they all have to act like it's not a thing. And after the world has been taken over by the aliens, the left tackle writes a book and says, I knew about the ankle sprain. There's just a part of me that goes, fuck all this, man. Like, what the fuck? Like, fuck all this shit.
This
and
is
it's
why
not
she's
her.
Doomed.
This made me once again look at the political party itself and the utility of it. It's like, was somebody gonna tell us? Like, was somebody gonna go, hey man, just to let you know, everything is in the balance. Like, it's all in the balance. And we all know we can't fucking run this guy. We all know that we shouldn't do it. We all know this. We all know that. But we're going along with it because,
But that's the thing. Because the anger to me isn't directed towards her in a sense, more so him and the administration.
It's her too. It's a part of it.
But this is what I'm saying. I think that she's to blame. But what would you do in this instance? This is why I say she was doomed from the start. I don't think he ever wanted her to be president. He wanted her to be a figure standing next to him and represent something in a way that had not been represented in that way before. That's what I get from these excerpts from this book and from the whole way everything has kind of fallen out. She wanted to run for president. And I'm not agreeing with what she did. I'm just saying, what do you do? Her hands are tied. She wanted to run for president. She wanted to align herself with the Democratic Party. She couldn't shit on Joe Biden. She couldn't say things that she knew, because if she did, then she couldn't be president. And if she did, then she would not I'm like, she's doomed. Her hands were tied. I'm not saying that she is free from fault. I'm just like, this woman's whole moment in the administration was doomed from the moment that she said yes when he asked her to be the vice president. She never stood a chance Not under this administration.
Yeah. So you can't unilaterally point blame at Kamala. You can't. But what you can do is this, because I don't like to do that anyway. I like to look at the systemic thing. Political parties neuter political courage. Political courage is what's needed to make actual systemic change. You need courage. You need courage to do things like universal health care. You need courage to do things like environmental justice. You need courage because you're up against corporations that don't want to see these things happen. You're up against a status quo that exists in part because things are the way they are. You need courage. And these parties are just not about that. These parties are about picking winners and losers. They're about picking the people that they think best serve the corporate base and corporate wing of the party. They're about doing what they can do to consolidate power within a certain political elite. And if you don't fit that, then they make sure to keep you out of it. And then you can't cross that because they'll fuck you for it. So that means that we get bad, compromised, or inept leaders because we're really not picking them. Kind of picking them, but we're really not picking them. Then after everything falls apart and it's all fucked the fuck up, you know what we get? Bestsellers. We get books. We get all these books. It's 3 books dropping. Jean-Pierre's dropping a book. We're having her on this podcast. Can't wait to have this conversation with her.
I know.
Kamala's dropping a book. Everybody dropped a book. Nobody dropped the truth. Nobody dropped the truth. Everybody dropped the book. Now the aliens that taking over and the fucking ankle. We put the spat on that bitch. What the fuck? What am I supposed to think? I'm sorry. Look, you guys.
Not wrong.
Look.
You're not wrong.
There's obviously I voted for Vice President Harris. I voted for her. Right. I wanted her to be successful in her bid to be president. She was a much better candidate. Would have loved to have seen what she would have done with the country. I would have loved to have seen that. Okay. So guys, I'm just being honest with you. Some of you are going to get mad. I'm just being honest. Okay. The reality is this. And then don't even get me started on the Gaza thing. Don't get me started on what was happening there. The whole time there was inaction there, the kids' faces were getting burned off. They were. The kids' faces were getting burned off. And it's like, okay, like when do we summon? And this is why when I was talking about the fucking the black thing, the is America a racist country thing with Kamala Harris? Look, I realize that, I have a different set of, it's different. I'm not the vice president. You can't, maybe, but what I'm saying is, it is important for us not to just accept blatant lies because we understand the political position that somebody is in. It's important for us to be like, all right, this is our person and we kind of get this, but at the same time, that's a lie. Like we should just be able to say that's a lie, and I know that you know that that's a lie.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening with these parties too? They become little social clubs rather than it's political parties. Not a social club. It's not a fucking club for you guys to have a fun time and do all. It's not a fucking club, right? These people are the people that control the clean water and fucking all other shit. It's not a club, man. It's a fucking politic thing. And stop with the fucking. We have fun and drink and we all together in clubs shit. It's not a club. If they don't do what you need them to do, then you gotta fucking kick their ass and get new people. It's not there's no hives. There's none of that. She's in a book. She knew.
This is why I say her political career is done with this. Because what's going to come out of the book? People are going to have the same sentiments that you have. They're going to have the same sentiment in the sense that How does anybody trust Kamala Harris? Listen, how does anybody trust Kamala Harris after this book comes out? How could we believe anything? Who do you stand for? What do you stand for? How could you run for office after this? We don't know which Kamala Harris you're going to get. It's going to be hard to believe. I'll believe what she writes in this book, but it's going to be hard to believe her as a political candidate and trust her in that space. That's why I say, this is it. I'm sure it's going to be a great book, though.
Well, I guess that's why I got to read the book. Got to read it because I guess maybe the book makes the case for how hamstrung she was.
It is going to do that.
And if I'm having, keyword, empathy, maybe I'll read the book. And the depth of it, I will understand.
And what did I say at the top of it? I feel sorry for her because I feel like her hands were tied. But it doesn't mean that I trust her as a candidate after this book. I can feel sorry for her, but still feel like I can't trust that you would execute the desires that people have if it came down to that or following the system.
So let me ask you this. Speaking of hands tied, do you think that R. Kelly was telling the truth when he said that he did not know how to hog tie?
I didn't know he said that, and I don't care. It doesn't matter. He did so many other...
Wait a second. Hold on.
I don't know this.
Hold on. Donnie, there's no way you haven't seen this. There's no way. It's impossible.
Where did you say this?
I'm looking it up. Hold on.
I don't. He did so many other disgusting and harmful things that I don't care if he knows how to hog tie or not. That's like, there's a number of criminal things that he did that were harmful to women, which is why he's rotting in jail now.
Rachel.
Prison.
I want you to watch this.
No.
And come on, Rach. I want you to watch this and I want you to tell me whether or not you believe R. Kelly, or whether or not you think that he's telling the truth right here.
He said it's a gal.
Somebody sent me something on my phone and it said that I hog-tied her. I don't know how to hog-tie people. What would I hog-tie?
I do remember. Sorry, I do remember.
Of course, there's a debate about whether or not he's actually telling the truth there because he told a lot of lies. But do you think that he... No, it doesn't matter. It's just a question.
All right.
Do you think that he knew how to hog tie? Do you think he could hog tie?
I think he tried. You know what?
Think he tried
This is what I think. This is what I think. The reason he knows he can't hog tie is because he probably tried it and it didn't work.
You think that he was trying to hog tie and he realized that he couldn't hog tie.
So he admit that. He's sad about I didn't know how to hog tie because I tried and it didn't work.
He said I hog tie people.
Why'd you bring that up? Why?
Because I saw a tweet and the tweet said, I do think that R. Kelly was telling the truth that he couldn't hog tie. And I was like, I never thought about that. That probably with the way that he
This is the difference between me and you. I would have seen that tweet and kept scrolling. You sat there and thought about it. Huh.
Yeah. Like I thought for a second, like, could he hog tie? My dad could hog tie.
And your dad is from
Marion, Louisiana. He hog tied me.
R. Kelly is from
Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. Different skill sets that are required, I think, for both places. And why did he hog tie you, Van? Why did he hog tie you?
We were playing around. We were being rascals. And he would say something. My dad would say, like, boy, I'll throw you. And then I would say, you can't throw me. And then he would be like, boy, I'll throw you. And then I'll say, you can't throw me. And then one time he picked me up and he threw me. And then when he got me down, he had his lasso and he hog tied me. And it was funny. It was funny. I was a kid. It was like a funny thing.
I'm sure that sounds like fun. I don't think it was fun in the R. Kelly sense though, but I do like that you share. Yeah, I absolutely believe R. Kelly tried to hog tie and realized he couldn't.
And then realized.
Because I would have been like, hog tie? I don't even know what that is. He said, I tried, but I didn't know how.
We should say something, by the way. Melvin Gregg is coming on the show pretty soon. We should say something, by the way. There's a shit ton of news.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Covering.
There's a lot.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Israel hit Qatar. Israel hit Qatar. They bombed Hamas negotiators in Qatar and this was an operation that took place on the soil of Qatar. And it is a major deal. It's a huge deal. Higher learning homework. You guys should look into this if you haven't looked into it. It looks like Israel hit Qatar to try to get to Hamas, which is what they said. But really this is happening, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, to stifle the negotiations that are ongoing right now, to bring an end to the conflict, or at least to get to a ceasefire. They hit the negotiators. They hit the people that are negotiating. Everyone, there's so much going on right now that Israel launched a strike against Qatar and basically told the United States about this strike while the birds were in the air. And, we couldn't get to it today. There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot going on. Supreme Court ruling going on. We were VMAs. There's some fallout from the VMAs. We were going to talk a little bit about new Bachelorette. I had thoughts about that.
You have to do that. You have to do that.
No. Yeah, I mean, I already said a lot.
No.
There's really not. Are you familiar with Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
Yes.
Do you watch it?
I've seen it before.
So you know what the premise of the show was built off of?
Yeah. Mormon women skinny dipping.
Okay. No. It was built off of soft swinging. A girl came out. Mom Talk was something that was built by these women who are Mormons.
I've seen it. They get on the
I'm explaining it to people,
dance around.
and it became very, very popular on TikTok. Millions of followers, millions of likes, and then one day the leader of Mom Talk, Taylor Frankie Paul.
Wait. Are you telling me that the Bachelorette is a woman from the Mom Talk thing?
Yes. 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 This is why I was like, you think it's not that there's a new Bachelorette. I don't even watch anymore. It's that it's Taylor Frankie Paul. So Taylor Frankie Paul was the creative Mom Talk, the leader of it, comes out and says years ago and says, hey guys, I just want to let everybody know we're swingers. And she didn't specify who was or who wasn't. So everybody assumed every single girl that was in Mom Talk was swinging with each other. They were swinging. Turns out it was her best friend, her best friend's husband, her husband. Those couples get divorced, whatever. And the fallout comes to Mom Talk. These fractured friend groups, the lies, the mistrust. Do they swing? Do they not? How they are in their religion, not in the church, all of these things. And it's a great watch. 2 seasons. The third one comes out later this year. Bam. It's under the Disney network. So is The Bachelorette. Taylor Frankie Paul put out a video that she wanted to be the Bachelorette. Nobody took it seriously until yesterday when she announced on Call Her Daddy that she is the new Bachelorette. People are losing their minds. I woke up to the phone calls. I already knew though. I woke up to the phone calls and they were like, Rachel, we have to have your thoughts. Now, I don't talk about The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I don't even watch the show, but I had to pop in for this because it's so from the norm. Normally, they pick a lead from a previous season. So you know this person, you're familiar with them, you know their story, you're rooting for them as they find love. That has been the format. I've said multiple times that this format is dead. The fairy tale is over. They can't compete with these other love reality shows because they're trying to sell something that people don't believe in anymore. They needed to shake it up, and they shook it up. They have said, we're going to jump in the land of chaos. We're going to jump into the mess because the Bachelors always said, we're not like them. We're not like the other ones. And they're losing because of it. They're losing viewership. They're losing dollars. It doesn't make sense anymore. So they have thrown their hat in the ring and they said, we're going to do it in the loudest and biggest way. And we're going to make the leader of Mom Talk, of soft swinging, Taylor Frankie Paul is going to be our lead. I spoke out about this and I said, I love it. I think a lot of people thought Rachel's going to condemn it. Rachel's going to hate it. I said, you know what? I love it. Let them be messy. I've spoken and tried to push for diversity and inclusion in this franchise, and they dabbled into it, but they never got it right. And I believe that this is their version of diversity and inclusion because Taylor Frankie Paul is we've seen divorced women. We've seen moms that have been Bachelorette, but not all this together. She got multiple baby daddies. She's divorced. We've seen her in and out of relationships. She has struggled with her mental health, which is going to be an issue on the show. And she has passed the soft swinging. She's MAGA. I didn't even talk about that. There's so many different things that point to making her different. This is their new diversity and inclusion right here. And she is our new Bachelorette. Oh, been arrested, domestic violence. The list goes on and on.
Melvin Gregg joins us on the show today. Melvin, do you watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
I don't.
You never heard of that before?
I feel like I probably heard of it, but nah, I've never watched it.
I wish he could have heard the explanation.
It sounds familiar.
It was built off soft swinging and Mormons. And hi, Melvin. Sorry, I'm sick. I can't be in studio today.
It's a show about Mormons and Mormon ladies, but they go wild. It's like Mormons going wild.
That's probably interesting.
It actually is.
I like it. I've seen it one or two times. I didn't realize that was the same lady. And now this lady has gone on to become the Bachelorette. Melvin Gregg, would you ever become the Bachelor?
Nah. I'm already married.
He's married.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Melvin, Van is the worst about knowing the personal relationships and lives of his friends.
That's cool, though. That's not a bad thing.
Well,
he is married.
I knew this about Melvin, though, because Melvin is very proud. He puts his, like, I've seen you do stuff with the family on social media and stuff that. Like y'all build stuff. Mm-hmm. You're very handy. You do crafts.
I do.
How did you learn how to do crafts?
Because I'm cheap. Frugal, as they say. Yeah. So if somebody come in and they quote me a crazy price to do something, I usually look at a person and I'm like, do I feel like I'm as capable as that person? Cool. All right, the answer is yes. Let me figure out how they would do it. Let me go to YouTube, and you can learn anything on YouTube.
What's your sign?
Yeah. I'm a Virgo.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes all the sense in the world.
Don't y'all feel like it's a lot of...
No, I like the sign. I like
Virgo propaganda that's going on lately. Like the Virgos.
We're in Virgo season.
I know, but I'm saying it's like the Virgos have now, I think it's Beyonce related. I think Beyonce has made the Virgo into this big brand. It's like a brand now.
It is a big thing. Yeah, there's a lot of propaganda around it too. I feel like it's part of it's true. And I think it's the traits that are associated with Virgo are like very prominent traits. So it affects people in a way where they're more vocal about it, I think.
What's the Virgo traits?
Like perfectionist, thinking they know everything. Like it's yeah.
But there's positives. You're very grounded. You're very practical. You always know what you're gonna get.
Practical.
Very loyal. Yeah. I'm an earth sign as well. So I understand.
Okay.
What do this mean? What's an earth sign?
Well, Taurus, Capricorn. No, you are an Aries. Fire.
What's that? Fire sign? Burn a motherfucker up. That's what I'm talking about. So Melvin is joining us because you got a new show dropping, bro.
Yeah.
The show is out, is it not?
Mm-hmm. It's out.
And it is called The Paper. And it is an Office spinoff. Tell people about the show.
Yeah, so it's from the same universe as The Office, the same showrunner that brought you the American Office 20 years ago. A lot of the same directors from before. It exists in the same world, but it's a different show. The only carryover is Oscar Nunez from the original, and also the documentary crew. So how the show is set up is the documentary crew from before, they go to Dunder Mifflin to, check on the old crew, the old cast, and everybody's gone, and you find out that the company was bought by another company. So the documentary crew, go track down where the company was sold, and they discover a newspaper, like a local newspaper, and they decide to document this newspaper.
Do you think that it being like Van described it as a spinoff from The Office, but it is different, but another mockumentary. Do you think that kind of categorization helps or hurts the show?
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think in the industry today, IP is everything. That's why we got so many reboots and stuff. So coming off of The Office, and The Office being such an iconic show and having so many diehard fans, you'll garner a lot of attention, but at the same time, you'll garner a lot of comparisons too. And at the end of the day, as long as people watch it, that's good. Now we got an opportunity for people to fall in love with the show and see that the show is different from The Office. Same documentary crew, but a different group of people. There's not like a Michael Scott type and a Dwight type. It's just a completely different group of people with different tasks, different dynamics. And it's a different show, just same format, same DNA, same comedic tone.
Will Black people find it funny?
Yeah, I think so. I think if Black people kind of give it a chance and just clock in I think a lot of comedy comes from relatable moments, even though it might not be a shared experience. Like the human experience
Yeah.
is pretty relative. So if you kind of watch it and you fall in love with the characters, you'll find comedy in it. But it's not gonna be the same type of comedy you get from like Tyler Perry. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's a different tone.
But there is, so I this is interesting to me. So when the Judd Apatow stuff first came out, because like in college, I put my homies on Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I didn't think that they would like it. But it's just fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
It's just funny. And then the Judd Apatow stuff came out, and then there was a whole run, a whole time where we were into the white boy humor.
Yeah, I called it stupid funny.
We were into the white boy humor, and it kind, that whole humor seemed like it went away. The Office was kind of that, but not really that.
Yeah.
And now it's like, are we free to laugh at the white boy humor anymore?
I think, being Black in America, you got to kind of acclimate to the white world in a sense, in a way that they don't have to acclimate or accept or acknowledge our space. They don't have to watch our movies, but eventually we'll watch theirs. Where I grew up at, it was really no white people. It was kind of segregated in a sense.
Oh.
I've seen a new map where it says like the concentration of Black people and is all in like the southern coast, and the darkest color is the biggest like Black concentration, and it was right where I grew up. It was probably like 2 white people in my high school. I don't know who they were, but I would just assume that they were there. I don't want to say it was completely Black. My elementary school was 1 white guy. His name was Timmy. I remember him. I used to sell him Sega games.
Melvin.
But yeah. So
you were selling them the old shit. What was
I get it from the pawn shop.
You get it from the pawn shop.
Him, he just wanted to be cool, so he'll buy whatever I'm selling.
He wasn't really even playing the games. He just wanted to be
probably
a friend.
wasn't. Hey, I'm all for it. But no, shout out to Timmy. I remember him to this day. But I'm saying all that to say that I didn't watch white comedy. I didn't watch a lot of white movies. I just watched things of the culture with characters I could relate to. And I remember I went to this thing called Boys State. They get 2. You went to Boys State?
Yeah, you go to student government.
Yeah. I went to Boys State, and I guess it was supposed to be a treat for everybody. They took us to like a auditorium, and they put on Ron Burgundy, the Anchorman. And I was lost. They were going crazy, laughing at everything, and I was just like, "This is stupid. I don't get it." I seen Napoleon Dynamite, and I'm like, "Yo, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, I just don't get it." My introduction to white comedy, in a way, I was like, "Yo, this is hysterical." Was Superbad. Superbad.
Yeah.
And 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Great.
Like at that point, I was like, "Okay, I get it." Those other ones, I still don't kind of get it. But I think the thing is playing absurd situations in a grounded way, where you're not trying to be funny. You're just, like, if you look at Steve Carell and 40-Year-Old Virgin, he wasn't trying to be funny, but it was just hysterical because he was so oblivious to the world in which he existed. And the same thing with Superbad, and it's relatable. Like, every guy could, relate to, trying to get laid, or, you know what I mean? Like, going on a crazy night out with your friends, just trying to hook up with that one girl you got a crush on. So it was relatable in a sense that I found hilarious.
Was it hard for you? Like, I'm curious, like, growing up the way that you did, and you saying only 2 people that were white in your high school, and you come out here and it's white, Hollywood's so white. Was it hard for you? And you're so yourself. Was it hard for you to stay true to yourself? And how did you do that?
Yeah. It was definitely tough. So, culture shock for me came in college. Because I went to college in the same area. I never really left the area.
Where is this area at?
I'm from Portsmouth, Virginia.
Okay,
it's
cool.
near like Norfolk, Virginia Beach, the southern coast of Virginia. So I when I went to college, I stayed close to home. I went to college, but it was really diverse, and I had culture shock. I didn't talk to people for like 2 years. I had a roommate my first year that I never met. Whenever he would come in the room, I act like I was asleep. Just because I just felt so out of place. I ended up leaving around November, so I ain't had to hide out too long. But like, even the Black people, they was from Northern Virginia, for most of them. So like, the culture was different. They dressed different. They talk different. I just felt so out of place. And it was to a point I just kind of stayed to myself. And it took a couple years for me to kind of break out of it. But being able to adjust in college, when I came to California, I had got to the point where I realized, like, we all people, we all experience the same thing. We might talk different. We might got different experiences, but how we react and how the experiences affect us is all common in a sense. So by the time I got to California, I had found a sense of who I was, but it was still hard for me to figure out who I was on camera because I still got an accent, but my accent was super thick when I moved out here. So I didn't look like how I sounded. Like I sounded super urban, as they say, but I looked friendly.
Nigger.
So, so when they casting, this friendly light-skinned guy with curly hair, he didn't sound like me. And then when they was casting, the niggas, as he put, like I didn't look like what the idea of it was. You know what I mean? We look like whatever. There's no monolith to black, but the idea of what Hollywood was casting didn't really look like myself. So I would try to code switch, and I was trash at it. Like I sounded terrible. Trying to sound like I was white.
Let us hear. Let us hear.
Yeah, let's hear the code switch.
No, it's gonna sound different now.
I want to hear the code switch. I want to hear your code switch. All three of us should code switch. Rachel code switch.
My code switch is very I feel like Rachel got an elite code switch.
Rachel got a crazy code switch.
Yeah.
Rachel, try it.
I already know it.
Okay,
Rachel,
hold
I
on.
wanna hear the code switch.
My voice is hoarse. Hi guys, I'm Rachel Lindsay, and welcome to Extra.
That's like a broadcast switch.
Well, that's the switch. That's the
I
switch.
guess.
I
guess.
What did you think? I had like a Valley Girl accent?
I think you could do Valley Girl.
Yeah, something like that a little bit more.
I
liked
totally
it,
could.
but I liked it, but it was a little broadcasty. I don't code switch, so I wouldn't know nothing about that. I keep that shit real.
I did.
I definitely code switch back in the day.
I'm sure you go home and a New Orleans accent come out, Louisiana accent come out.
No, it doesn't. See, here's the thing.
My Texas does.
It doesn't. It does. For me, Baton Rouge is an interesting place because Rachel, you met my friends, right? The play proof. They don't really
have accents.
Yeah.
So also too, you are already pretty articulate, so you don't have to code switch.
Probably.
Yeah, like you sit in a middle place. If I didn't know you and I heard you speak, I'd be like, oh, okay, he's probably middle class, like you know what I mean, a two-parent household type thing. So I think for me, having a code switch came from like I'm from like the I don't like saying trenches because people glorify it, but like welfare type, you know what I mean, like that type place. So the way I naturally talk is kind of hard for white people to understand.
So you had to.
So what I'm doing now is also a shift from how I naturally talk.
Wait, you nigga switching?
No,
it's switching with us.
I'm media switching because I don't want y'all to have subtitles for what I'm doing.
I never had anybody switch for me.
Yeah.
Maybe you just didn't know. You wouldn't have known.
It's like a California switch. You wouldn't have known. Like white people probably don't know we switch.
White people, we never talk about when white people code switch.
Well, we do. We talk about their black accents.
You seen the Tarantino switch?
I have not.
Oh man, look up Tarantino talk to a group of black people. It was like 70s black exploitation. He was like, yeah, so this movie that we come, I can't even do it.
He said like jive turkey and stuff like that.
Yeah. It was crazy.
I'm looking at your filmography. So people should know the background as we talk about the paper, which is a huge deal. But I'm looking at the filmography, right?
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people that are seeing Melvin Gregg right now, they're going to be like, I remember him. I've gone way back with him because of how you got started with Vine, right?
Yeah,
and all of the skits and stuff. But when I'm looking at the filmography, I'm looking at constant elevation, right? I'm looking at a whole bunch of titles here that don't have no clickable links to them on the Wikipedia. Then I'm looking at Sharknado, and then as I see them, I'm seeing, boom, High Flying Bird. We were in that movie together, actually. I was in that. Then The Way Back, underrated Ben Affleck movie, right? And then You Cooking Now, Billie Holiday, Boxing Day, The Blackening, love The Blackening.
We love The Blackening.
House Party, Story Avenue, Share. And then when I look at the TV stuff, ever since Snowfall, all of these are projects that are really fantastic to be like associated with. You're talking about Soderbergh, you're talking about John Singleton and my man Dave. Shout out Dave over there on Dave be hooping, think he could shoot the ball out there on Snowfall. How did you go? What was the actual thought of I'm going from Vine to build a career where I am in prestigious, gigantic productions? And now, Melvin, I'm bringing it up to talk about your ascension, but nobody even talks about the Vine thing anymore. You became an actor, and the first place that they met you was on Vine. How did you do it? What was the strategy?
some people still be like, oh, that's the guy from Vine. I'm saying it now with the paper, with the promotion. And it just shows I'm touching a market that I haven't touched since Vine. But if you look at it, like you said, if you go back, there's so many credits on my filmography because there's so much stuff that I've done before Vine in regards to just wanting to
Before
work.
Vine.
Before Vine. I
Gotcha.
moved out here 2011. So
Okay.
it's stuff like is Asteroid versus Earth, Cleaver Family Reunion. It's like a lot of low budget or student films or indie films that I was doing in 2012, 2013, 2014. But I wasn't able to get the auditions for the real projects, the prestigious type projects, because I didn't have an agent. And I couldn't get an agent because I didn't have those credits. So I was like, in order to get to a place where I want to be, the place where I am now, the place where I'm gonna be soon, I was like, I got to figure out another path to get there. And that's why I did Vine. I did Vine with the intentions of building an audience so I can be more of value to an agency or a production. So me doing Vine was a means to an end of me getting representation to actually get real projects. But I realized when I was doing Vine, the projects that I was getting from being an influencer weren't great projects. You'll get stuff like Freakish, Unreal, which was a great show, but my role was so minimal. I
Right.
played an influencer, and you know what I mean? I was only getting those really small parts. Even though I was big online, so I had to come to a point where I'm like, what do I really want to do? Even though I'm finding a great deal of success doing social media, that's not why I moved here. That's not why, I came to LA to act. So I was just like, let me just stop. So I quit and I just shifted my focus completely to acting. And that's when you start seeing the High Flying Bird or American Vandal or the Way Back, when I just kind of shifted the hyper focus that I have for social media back towards traditional media and just continuing to, put forth the work, but also just be conscious of where I exist in the space, how the landscape exists, and how I can best navigate it to get to where I want to be.
I love that because I feel like when I was making a career switch too, somebody said to me, what's the one thing in your life that's holding you back? And I didn't want to admit it was being a lawyer because that had defined me for such a long time. I was like, that's what everybody knows me as. That's the respect. What are they going to think of me if I go off and do what I really want to do? And she was like, that's the one thing holding you back. And as soon as I let it go, I felt like things started to fall into place. I read, I was looking at some interview and I read that because I'm wondering if you believe in manifesting and if you place importance on it, because I read that at the top of the year, you had wrote down like all the different things that you wanted in your next project that would help you move to the next level of your career. So the question is, do you believe in manifesting? Is that something that you do? And maybe talk a little bit about that for other people, because obviously it worked, with what you're doing now in the paper. Because I read also that that's a full circle moment for you.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a big believer in manifesting. I feel like manifesting isn't much different from prayer. The only difference is you pray out to an external being or Jesus or whoever it is you pray to for whatever it is that you want, and you have faith that it's going to come back to you because you have faith in whatever it is you're praying to. I feel like manifesting is the same thing, but it's a faith within yourself. You're putting out what it is you want to receive, and you have faith in yourself that is going to come to you. So as long as as that faith is strong, there's a chance that it's going to come back to you. But I think the great deal about manifesting and having faith in yourself, you're going to put forth the work relentlessly to gain what it is that you want. You're not sitting back waiting for something to come to you. You're confident in yourself to put everything into it and bet on yourself to go out and get whatever it is that is. So I've always believed that I could manifest whatever it is I want, and that I guess you could say delusional faith in me being able to achieve what I want. I'm putting myself out there and doing the work to garner, those blessings or manifestations. But yeah, with the office, my wife is more in tune with it than I am. She like reads books and stuff based on people's research and life experiences in this space. I kind of just go off of what's innate for me. But yeah, top of the year, she was like, this is something with the moon, and this is a great time to kind of just
we would be such good
write
friends.
down. Yeah. And she really set it up to it. And I was kind of laughing at it. But like she set up like a palette out in the yard, and she had like some candles and like some wine and like all of this stuff in a notebook. And I was kind of laughing at it, but of course I still go along with it, and I just write all the things that I want out of my next job moving into the next year. And a lot of those boxes was checked by the paper. So it's just like, wow, that's crazy.
It's
How
powerful.
important is it having a good woman in your life?
I think it's the most important thing. I think your partner, as in with anything and everything, your partner is probably the most important decision you make. If it's a business, the person you decide to partner with is going to be more important than what the actual business is. I think having the right person is going to build you up and give you strength and encourage you and add to who you are. The wrong person is going to do the complete opposite and could be, the cause of your demise. So I think, yeah, a good woman or a good man is more important than most.
Why do you think sometimes, because, the young brothers out here that are in the city that are doing their thing, sometimes they don't want to settle down.
These city boys.
Like they
Yeah.
city boys, they out here. Married, family, all of that. Sometimes they say that comes later.
Mhm.
Career comes first. And now, and I need to solidify all of that stuff. But it seems like you feel like solidifying your family and your personal life helps you be. Does it help you be more productive in your professional life? Is that part of the success that you might be having that maybe others don't? The fact that you have a great partner and a stable family?
I think there's a balance as far as productivity and what it is you want to be productive at and where your focus is. For me, my family is more important than my career.
Mm.
So even though I might not be as productive as like a businessman, I'm productive as a father, as a husband. That's more important than anything. So it's just like I'm putting my attention there, and anytime I got leftovers going towards work. There's not a lot of like
Oh,
extra
shit.
time to be hanging out and doing a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And I try to keep a work schedule like between 4 and 5, I'm done, and I'm just with my family. On the weekends, I'm just with my family. I wake up in the morning with my kids and make them breakfast. For a long time, I was taking them to school too, but that's priority first for me. And back to the first part of your question about a lot of young guys focusing on work and stuff. I think it's like a conditioning in a sense, and I was in that place. I think a big part of it is ego. Um, but men are conditioned to want to have options and to get the girls that everybody desire, and a lot of times that's attached to getting money and getting fame and flexing and that type of stuff because you're gonna attract these girls that you're conditioned to want.
Right.
So then you're gonna go out and chase business and you're gonna chase money, and then you come up with this philosophy of money over hoes and all of this stuff, and it's just is a bad cycle overall. And I feel like I've definitely had that perspective at one point in my life, but you got to kind of grow through it. And I've always been one to pay attention to the omens and see cautionary tales, and I have to kind of live through it to learn from it. So if I see this guy doing this, that, and the other, and this is where he ends up, I don't want to take that path.
Right.
My dad, prided himself on being a ladies' man. He got 3 different baby moms, and now he lonely at 70. No shade to my dad. That's his life choices, but I don't want to go down that path. So if I could look at that and be like, cool, that's not where I want to go. Let me not do that. It's easier for me to move that way. If I see people that find happiness in marriage and family and kids and having somebody to support them and that being more productive, cool. That's more so what I want. So let me align myself with that way of living versus that way of living.
I guess that's an interesting thing. So you talked about the whole mantra of like money over bitches, because you chase that and then everything comes from that. What would be the right mantra? What would be the right mantra for someone to have in terms of what's the right way to orient your life, your social life, your professional life? We want to get ourselves out of these toxic spirals of talking to each other in these things that we learn from these records.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm talking to a group of young men, what's the right way for me to tell them this is how you should attack life? This is how you should attack happiness. What would you say?
Find your peace and your happiness and protect it. And find your happiness and your peace. Your happiness can't be based on what somebody else wants. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to make you happy if you're doing it to make them envious. Like, what is that really doing for you? Ego is the devil. Ego is the root of greed and so much other stuff too. So leave the ego alone. Find what makes you happy. Find what gives you peace. Hold on to it. Protect it. Focus on becoming more and not gaining more.
Mm.
And we get lost in like material possessions, and we want so much. You know what I mean? They want us to have the biggest house, and then we live in a library where there's no communal experience within the house because y'all in different sides of the house, and then you got these big white marble floors and this big empty space. You can't even clean it. Versus like, if you think about growing up, some of your fondest experiences for the most part is gonna be like at your grandma's house. Small house, little front room, little side room, but y'all all together, y'all got experiences. It feels wholesome. And I'm not knocking, people that's ambitious. I'm ambitious too, but know why you want it. Don't just want it because other people want it.
See? Grounded. Virgo. I read that you want to do a rom-com or an action. So if you were doing a rom-com, who would you want to play opposite of you?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I wrote a rom-com, and I know I want to play opposite of me, but this industry is so tricky that you can't follow creative rules. Or there are no creative rules, but you can't do what you're creatively drawn to do a lot of the times. You got to do what makes monetary sense for whoever giving you the money.
So who would you want to play opposite though?
I want to work with Nicole Beharie.
Oh shit. That is, to me, this is gonna sound fucked up, but to me, I don't want to say underrated. I would say that Nicole Beharie is the most underappreciated. Yeah, not underrated.
People that know her know she fire.
Yeah, because she's not underrated.
Right.
But underappreciated. That is a fucking star. That's a star right there. Like you see her wherever she's at. You see her on the morning show. You see her on TV. You see the Black Mirror. Everything she's done. That's a star. That's a great choice. What is this rom-com about? Y'all secret agents or some shit?
Nah. It's so the original conceit of it was me thinking like I want to do a reverse Pretty Woman in a sense. So it's a reverse Pretty Woman. I ain't gonna be no prostitute, but
you want to play. You want to be the host.
Nah,
you the hoe.
I'm not gonna be the host.
So
really.
wait, hold on. You gotta be. That's what you saying. So this should get made. See.
You gotta think of who she really was. She wasn't just a hoe. That was her means to getting on, but she was a lost soul. She was a lost soul, and she found somebody who showed her how valuable she could be.
Don't get me canceled.
And put her in.
I realize there's more to the lady. Okay, I love the movie.
So my version of a hoe, right? And it's equivalent. What's the version of a hoe for a man?
I don't know. You tell me.
A hustler.
Hustler is
hustler. Yeah. So that's what the character is. He's a hustler. He's just crazy in and out, not in and out of jail, but I can't. I'm blanking on the term, but he's just a slut. A slut. I'm tripping.
Just say it. No.
You're cold switching.
We trying to get Pretty Nigga made. It's called Pretty Nigga. That's the name of the movie. It's called Pretty Nigga. We trying to get it made. We can get this made, by the way.
So listen.
By the way, I'm telling you right now, we can get this made.
And I want to get it made. You can produce it, man.
We can get this made.
Come on, Oscar, man. So look, it's so he's a hustler, right? So when she meets him, he's driving Uber, but it's not just your typical Uber. He got like a mini fridge in the middle. He's selling like party cups with Henny and condoms in the back seat. He got a stripper pole that he got from like a storage unit auction that he drops off to somebody that he meet on what's that app where you sell stuff?
Craigslist?
Not Craigslist, the new one.
I don't know.
It's green. It's a green icon. Let's just say Facebook Marketplace. He linked up with somebody sell this all while the woman who she's in venture capitalist. She's on her way to a meeting that her career pretty much depends on, and she has to make it to this dinner. Meanwhile, she's in the car with this dude that's doing the most. So off the rip, they butting heads. They're not really into each other. And she gets into the meeting and she realizes this couple, a hotelier couple where she's trying to acquire their hotels, they're really old fashioned in a way. And she knew it beforehand, but she was kind of like, I'm gonna do my own thing. They only really want to work with couples. And throughout the film, you figure out why. So when she shows up, they're like, where's your husband? and she realizes like, yo, this is gonna be like the death of this deal. And at the same time, the guy come in because she had dropped her purse. She had dropped her phone in the car when she was getting out. So as he's bringing her the phone, she pulls him to the side and she was like, look, I got $1,000 for you. Don't say nothing. Sit here, agree with what I say. I got to close this deal type thing. But I like to liken it to Leo and Titanic. He comes and he's honest and he's himself unapologetically. And the people fall in love with him. And the people like, yo, we can't close this deal right now. We haven't had enough time. But we do an annual retreat in Jamaica where we stay at each one of our hotels each night. We get to know each other, and we get to see the type of people we do business with. We would love for you guys to come. So in order for her to close this deal, she now needs to bring him on this trip to close this couple. And you know, she pays him as they do in Pretty Woman. It's not it's not $3,000 as it is in that movie, but she pays him an amount to come and spend a week with her there. And over the course of that week, of course, they hate each other, but they learn from each other and they grow from each other, and eventually they realize that they're better for each other with each other.
Nah, we can get it made. We can get it made.
Yeah.
Nicole, Tracy could do that. Like we can get it made. That's a good one. So you have your own projects you're getting off the ground too then.
Yeah. I got a lot of them, man. These last 6 years I've been focusing on, a lot of people see me do DIY stuff, and I spend more time actually writing and DIYing these scripts, but it's just easier to post a theater room or a deck or a little contraption, fun toy that I make than it is to get these scripts made. But they definitely in the works. I got a few.
I like
but
it.
yeah, I want the rom-com to be next.
I like it too.
And we need more
Rachel.
rom-coms.
So
we're missing those right now.
I know, man. We get what Netflix give us, but it's all kind of the same thing. And they kind of cheesy, and a lot of
don't talk your stuff. We got to pitch this thing now.
I mean, you gotta get all right. Yeah. I ain't gonna talk bad on it, but I'm just saying this. I think this is, it's giving something that hasn't been given in a while.
So Domhnall Gleeson's in this.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with him.
Why not? Is it Harry Potter?
Nah, General Hux, bro.
General, what's that? I'm sorry. What is it?
He's General Hux, bro.
Who is that?
Fucking General Hux from Star Wars, bro.
I told you earlier how I grew up.
Bro,
I didn't watch Star Wars.
He's fucking General Hux from Star Wars, bro. It's Domhnall Gleeson. He's fucking General Hux. You never seen it? You ever seen The Force Awakens? You never seen The Force Awakens? You never seen The Last Jedi?
I don't watch either.
So you doing the whole show with General Hux. You and General Hux going back and forth, and you don't know it's General Hux.
You wanna know something crazy?
What?
I didn't know who Nicole Kidman was till I got the set.
You're lying.
I had to Google her when I knew she was working, I would know who to.
No way.
I told you how I grew up. I didn't see any of this stuff until I was an adult.
Wait a second. So, because you did the show, what was the name? That was a good ass show.
Non-Perfect Strangers.
Non-Perfect Strangers. So you did Non-Perfect Strangers. Was that HBO?
Hulu.
Yeah. And Non-Perfect Strangers, Nicole Kidman.
I didn't know who Nicole.
You didn't know who Nicole Kidman was?
Nah, I knew her name. I knew her name as a famous actor, but if she was in a lineup, I wouldn't have been able to be like, "Oh, that's her."
So then, when you see her, and when you see Nicole Kidman, you don't know who she is. Does she expect you to know who she is?
She didn't give the energy. She's a very gracious, beautiful human being. She kind of just floats through life.
Yeah.
And she's been famous for so long. I don't even think she acknowledges if people know her or not. She's just, respectful. Mm-hmm. Nice and gracious. Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from? It's just that. You got to get that energy because you was
magic happens.
Yeah. It was kind of that. But yeah, I had to Google it before she came so I would know who to be like, thank you, because it was her show. But it just speaks to, like I said, growing up, I didn't watch a lot of that other stuff. I had to catch up later on. So it's a lot of great things I still haven't seen.
What are the movies you haven't seen?
I feel seen.
It's hard. It's hard to name them. You name them, and I'll tell you if I've seen them.
Have you seen The Godfather?
Yes.
Have you seen Goodfellas?
Yes. I've seen all these gangster movies.
Have you seen? Oh, so you've seen all the gangster movies? I've seen the gangster movies. Okay. Have you seen the original Color Purple?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't seen white stuff.
Do white movies.
I haven't seen white movies.
Okay. Do white movies. Okay.
Do you watch
movies.
Marvel? Do you like Captain America's?
I haven't watched the Captain Americas, but I love the one with Thanos.
The one
That
with
was
You would
hard.
like me.
God damn you,
Yeah,
Melvin
he's
Gregg.
like
I
me.
like Iron Man. I'm
Me
not like
too.
a fanatic. I'm not a fanatic. I watch Iron Man, Black
You
Panther,
see it here
of
and there.
course.
Black Panther. Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Have you
know the
seen?
names.
So
all of them.
you like rom-coms? Have you seen like Sleepless in Seattle?
I did. So
See? You said
listen.
He likes
because
rom-coms.
I was writing a rom-com, so I watched as many rom-coms as possible.
can, yeah.
It's a formula. So I'm like, let me educate myself on rom-coms. But prior to writing the rom-com, I had never seen Sleepless in Seattle or many of the other ones.
Right, but you wanted to know the formula, so you
Because they're
watched
all the
rom-coms.
same. So I watched the greatest. I looked up the greatest rom-coms
Okay.
and watched them all to
Mm.
kind of, figure out what made them great.
But you never saw Eyes Wide Shut.
I watched it later. Yeah.
You watched it later. What did
Yeah,
you? So
I didn't like
What
it.
was it like? What was it like meeting Nicole Kidman, then watching Eyes Wide Shut?
It's different.
I know, right?
It's different. Yeah.
She's getting busy.
No, because
It's going
like,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, you saw that shit.
But
You was
it's
like, I know her.
hard. It's hard to see people different from how you first meet them.
Mhm.
Have you met Rachel's parents?
Yeah.
Okay. So you met them as older people. Now try to imagine them being 20 years old. It's hard. Go watch an old video of Morgan
Stop.
Freeman.
Yeah.
Watch an old video of Morgan Freeman. He still feels old because you met him
Met him
old.
old.
So I met Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman older.
Mhm.
So it's hard to go and see her in a sexual act and
Of course.
and be affected the way people probably were when it happened originally.
I get you.
Beautiful woman, but it's a respect thing. It's like I have a different respect. Excuse me. I respect her as a elder, but like as a.
Just
I
advance.
love Nicole Kidman.
I love Nicole Kidman.
I love
This is
Nicole
not.
Kidman.
Wait,
yeah,
hold on.
and it's not specific to her. This is about Rachel's mom. It's about
Oh.
any elder. It's about my wife's mom. Like when you meet somebody one way, it's hard to see them in a different light.
Yeah,
Wow.
we
That
get
was
where
an-
you're coming from. We understand.
Yeah,
Definitely get where you're coming from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially
brothers-
the person
the
who doesn't
brothers-
watch movies.
Shout out to my man Woody McClain.
Yeah.
The brothers are. If you guys don't know, Woody McClain has a Kickstarter. He's raising money for his rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
Our brothers want their rom-coms. We want to
love
be in rom-coms.
But-
We want to be lovers.
You know why? Because think of the
all love
90s.
love.
Think
You don't
about
have
all the rom-coms we had in the 90s. We grew up on that. We grew up watching, seeing like Black people find love and in beautiful spaces and like
and think about it. What's the most vulnerable you gonna see a Black man?
When he's in love with a Black woman.
When he's in love, when his head's on that pillow talking, saying all of anything that's on his heart. That's the most vulnerable, and I think that's what makes for the characters that are the most redeemable, the characters that you care for the most. You see them in love, and I think we all kind of want an excuse to expound upon that.
Do you think Hollywood enjoys seeing Black men in love? Hollywood.
I think if they don't see us as Black men and they just see us, of course we're Black men, but if you just watch us as men and people that are in love, you will learn to love it. I think that's something that I'm able to do and will be able to do more of within the show, The Paper, because I think watching it, you won't see Detrick as like, oh, he's a Black man. Of course he's Black, but you just see him as a person. He's just a person, and he's in love with this girl, and you get to know his heart. So I think it's a great opportunity to introduce Black men to people that might not know him on such a vulnerable and transparent level.
Tell us about Detrick.
Detrick is, unlike characters I've played before, he's awkward, he's offbeat, he's a little unsure of himself, he's a people pleaser, but he has a really good heart. He's the type of guy that you'll be happy for him to date your sister. Like he's just a good guy, but he hasn't really come into his own. And over the course of the season, he's head over heels in love with somebody, and they're not giving him, they not, returning the same energy. So that puts him in a place of like uncertainty and insecurity. And if you ever been in love and the person not really give you that love back, your logic is out the window. You're moving with your emotions and you're not doing things that make a lot of sense to the outside world, and you just kind of lost in it. And I think this is who he is at this point. But there's a lot of room for him to grow and see what else he has to offer, and Explores mind and heart.
Before we leave, everybody talk about their biggest heartbreak. The moment where we have to be vulnerable now.
Yeah.
The three of us now, we've established we doing a movie together, all kinds of shit. It's crazy
safe
what
space
just happened. Yeah.
with the rest of the world.
The rest of the world watch. Everybody talk about their biggest moment of heartbreak. Rach first, me second, our guest last, we sign off. Biggest moment of heartbreak, Rach.
I mean, I guess people would expect me to say my divorce. That is not the answer.
That's not it.
That's not.
We know that's not it, nigga.
You know, there was this guy I liked in college. It was like, I should have known, right? Hindsight, because it was never officially defined, but I considered him my boyfriend, and we were off and on for years. And I really liked him, and he was just everything that I wanted. And one day I called him like a normal day, and I got the do-do-do. The number that you have dialed is disconnected. And I was like, you know, he's changed his phone number before. Like, he'll probably hit me up in a second and let me know that, that he changed his number. Anyways, that never happened.
See what's happening?
It never happened. Mm-hmm.
This is tough, huh?
This was tough. It never happened. I was ghosted, but ghosted wasn't a thing back then. Like, it didn't have a title. Like, we used to joke, and I was like, yeah, he's Casper, but we didn't have a title. So social media wasn't big then. I think we just had Facebook, so there was no way for me to connect to him, to reach out to him, to know anything. I really didn't find out anything until 2 years later. And then 2 years later, I found out that he went back to his old girlfriend. They had a baby, and they lived happily ever after.
That's crazy. It's good for them, though.
That's great for them. We're cool now. We're cool now. But
it's good for them. Y'all good. Y'all got over it.
We're good now. But it really broke my heart.
I was at school, and I was going to school, and I remember my one of my homeboys came to me and was like, "Hey, I want to let you know, so and so is getting freaky with so and so," and that's the way he told me that it was going down, and I didn't believe it. I'm like, nah, no way. And he was like, yeah, bro, it's getting a little freak on. I'm telling you, you got a little freak on your hands. And I'm like, you need to watch that. And so I confronted her about it. And she was like, no, never happened. Bullshit. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Okay. And I go back to my boy. I'm like, you are wrong. It is you who is wrong. I do not have a little freak. You misspoke. It is you who is wrong about this. Don't you ever speak on my household like this ever again. Okay, it wasn't a household.
Your household.
Don't you
that
talk.
Was playing house.
Don't you talk about my household like this ever again. Okay, cool. So I am in her room one day, and at this school we had like this blackboard thing where you would click into it and they would have your classes, and you're like you could turn in papers in there and all of that stuff. But we all had it. It was a thing. And I remember I clicked into the little thing where you sign in to the login, and all of the past logins pop up when you click into this thing. And the guy who she was allegedly a little freaky with, his name popped up in that thing, which meant he had been in the room. He had been at the computer.
He had been logging in.
That nigga had been logging the fuck in.
He been logging in.
That nigga was logging in. I'm like, he logging in on my, he logging in.
And putting his information.
In, bro. He was putting his information in. And I remember I'm sitting there and like, it was like a moment of, it's funny now, but it wasn't even like a moment of heartbreak. There was terror. I was like, yo. She was like, what? I was like, what is this? And that was it. That was the moment. And then, man, this became a thing because they're all my people and everybody. This became a whole big thing. But that was the moment that. And see, you know, I don't hold that against black women. I was a black woman. I know sometimes y'all get the
I don't hold it against black men. Stop.
Yeah. But I don't do that. Okay, so now that's me.
I got a quick question. Did that moment define you for the years to come afterwards?
Nah, because I'm not like that. So
It wasn't the origin story of a menace.
Fuck no. See, I always take everything out on myself. Yeah, I know. That's
it
when
set me
I
on
always
path.
take everything out on myself. That's my problem. My problem is I looked at that and I went, now, what wasn't I doing to when really we just got to college, we was young, the nigga was on the football team, she, was the whole nine and all of that dumbass shit. So I made that about me. I internalized that for a while, and then I got in shape and started wilding out.
Exactly. It was your origin story.
My origin story for a while. Okay, I started wilding out. All right, now this is your biggest heartbreak.
Yeah, my biggest heartbreak. So I never had a girlfriend until I met her. So
God damn.
I know, man.
Not one girlfriend?
Nah, because I'm like a Virgo. I have this delusional confidence where it's just like, I'm not going to settle for anything less than exactly what I want. So if I meet a girl, from the jump, I know how far it could go. We can hang out, we can kick it, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's something that is not.
Now, did they think that they were your girlfriend?
See, yeah. I never wanted to mislead anybody. Like, they always knew what it was with me. And a lot of times that would be, at the cost of me compromising who I am to just, maybe I'm just a jerk because now you don't want me to be your boyfriend, but you might want to kick it with me here and there. So, not to get sidetracked, I met my wife, and of course she wasn't my wife at the time. And I was like, that's her. Like, I knew it as soon as I seen her. So I was into it. I was like, cool. I got her Facebook. I hit her on Facebook. I was like, you want to go out for coffee? I had never drinking coffee in my life, but I just moved to California. I'm like, this is what they do out here. So she was like, nah, I'm dating somebody. I'm like, dang, I respect it, but I'm going to still tap in. It's on Facebook. I'm going to tap in every month or so. Like, how you doing? So after a while, that situation with her boyfriend had died out, and we hung out. We hung out for a couple days, and I was like, let me approach this in a way that I've never approached dating before. And I'm going to be a gentleman. I'm going to be like the best possible guy that exists.
Let me treat her like a person.
Let me treat her, no. Let me treat her like a queen. Let me treat her like a queen. So I've always treated them like people, but I might put myself first. Right. So with her, I was putting her first. And yeah, bro, it ain't pan out for me. It ain't pan out for me. And I realized I was like a rebound. And it hurted my pride because I'm like, I put her first. I treat her like a queen. I don't usually do this, and I get what I want. I put her first, and now I'm the good guy, and I'm finishing last.
Yeah,
and it sucked. And I wrote her a letter. I wrote her like a 3-page letter. Mind you, I had only hung out with her a couple times. If you read this letter to this day, you would have thought I wrote it yesterday. Like, I poured my heart out. I wrote drafts, so there was no errors in what I was writing. There was no cross-outs. I wrote it with pen and cursive. That's a foreign art nowadays.
Yeah.
She ain't even respond to it. I'm like, so then I'm hitting her like, I ain't trying to press her. I'm like, you read the letter. I'm gonna get to it. I mean, I read it. Yeah, I'm waiting to see how I want to respond. All of this, and she's just not hitting me back at this point. And then one day I hit her, and I finally got a text back. I pulled over to the side of the road because I was like, I need to sit down when when I read this, I kind of want to give it my full focus. I don't want to be driving. I pull over, I read the text. It says, sorry, this is the wrong number.
I feel you.
Now, fast forward, Rachel, maybe a year later, we end up connecting on Facebook or something again. And I was like, send me your number. Because she was more cordial now. I was like, send me your number. She sent that same number from before.
It was her real number.
It was a real number.
Oh, my God. That's the number one story.
No.
She played, bruh, and the fact that y'all are married and happy.
Married?
That's straight. Rachel, I'm telling you.
Because from that moment, it created a different version of myself. I was a completely opposite of what I was the first time. And it ain't last. The relationship lasted about 5 months because I was a jerk. Because I was overcompensating from what I did before. My pride was hurt. So now I'm taking it all on her and this relationship. So I'm pissed.
So how did y'all end up getting together?
I mean, through time, you grow apart and you grow closer together. And this was, mind you, this happened in 2013. And then that time, after that 6 months, what's that, 2004? So this is 10 years ago.
Melvin, this is the movie.
This is a separate movie.
I don't know. No, I'm serious.
But this ain't a romantic comedy.
I know. I know. This right here, like that, like this is the movie. Or the limited or whatever. This is the movie.
What's crazier?
What?
That's the show. That's my art this year with the paper. My character goes through the exact
wow.
same thing. Instead of writing a love letter, he carves up a bird. And it's the same thing.
He carves up a bird.
He carves a bird.
He carves a bird.
Yes.
Oh, he hurt no bird though.
No, he
Oh,
carved
okay.
a bird out of pine. Like a
Oh
simp.
man, we gotta watch the paper.
Yeah.
If y'all not
it's the
watching
same
the paper,
story.
man, y'all gotta watch the paper. Y'all have to see how this ends for Detrick
Mm-hmm.
and see if it matches up with what happened for Melvin in real life, which is he gets this amazing family. Y'all gotta watch the paper. Where can they see it? Where do they go?
It's on Peacock. It's streaming. All episodes are streaming on Peacock. All 10 episodes. Check it when you can.
Go check it out. And you got a whole bunch of shit coming up too.
Yeah. I'm working on a lot of things, man. So, hopefully those things are to come. But right now is the paper. And I think everybody should watch it. I think you'll like it. The reception of it has been great. I thought people were going to hate it. Not hate it because it's bad, but I thought people were going to hate on it because of The Office.
Because compared to the
But they
others.
love it.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because the two can coexist. You can still love The Office and then watch the paper.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm in a group text with some guys,
Mhm.
and before the paper came out, these are semi-important guys. Before the paper came out, they was dragging the shit through the mud.
Yeah.
They was just like, there's no fucking way. Why would they do this? Why would they do this? I remember there was like a text about it. It was like, hey, it's actually pretty good. It's like actually, because everybody, The Office is such like rarefied air. It's like, actually, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. So I'm gonna get to it, man. I'm gonna make sure that we watch it. Everybody needs to tap in.
For sure. I think
Yeah.
I know you logging off, but there's a very genius line in the first episode when they pull the camera on Oscar and he's walking off and he says, "No one asked for this." And I think that's the sentiments of a lot of people that are Office fans. Like, no one asked for this, but you don't always know what's good for you. And I think if you check it out, you'll learn to love it.
Yeah. I didn't ask to sit down at that computer that day and click the thing and see that he was logging into my shit.
Exactly.
He was logging into my shit. And then that's when my father told me, the coldest line. I told you this line before. My dad, because I told my dad about this.
Mm-hmm.
My dad gave me the coldest line. My dad goes, son, don't be too jealous. I was like, why? He was like, it's not your pussy. It's your turn.
I my dad said something similar to me.
And I was like, oh shit. That's what he told me the lines. Like, it's not your pussy, it's your turn.
You know another one that's a little more less that. There's no story without conflict.
No story without conflict. That's what my dad was trying to say, but he didn't have the language.
I feel you. It was a different generation.
It was a different generation.
Yeah.
It was a different generation.
Thank you,
He
Melvin.
didn't have the language. He didn't have the language. We are out of here. Take your think caps off. Do not stop learning. Thank you to Melvin Gregg for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you to the audience today for allowing us to be raw and real about our feelings about the happenings of yesterday. Rachel?
Everything that Van said, make sure you guys take care of yourself. Like I said, detach if you need to. There's a lot going on. Melvin, again, thank you for being here. I'm Rachel Lindsay.
Thanks for
Bye,
having
guys.
me.